be more who you are, because on a cellular level, our cells are 99.9% water and like 0.1% salt. So when we're, I was going to say crucified, that's another life. When we're cremated, all that's left are our body salts. So when we look at our daily consumption, we need to take in 3 additional body salts every day that we didn't receive while within our mother's womb. Because each month creates a different salt. Like each astrological zone is a different mineral salt. So we miss 3 months of that. So when we can then supplement all 12 body salts, we can then be fully hydrated, because we hold the intent of love in our water as we drink it. And for me, I went down to the Golden Gate and got some black salt, and it's really high in sulfur, and it's been used in Ayurvedic medicine for tens of thousands of years. It kind of tastes like rotten eggs or drinking water out of a swamp, but you kind of get used to it after a while, just use a little bit. You know? But it does help. I get goosebumpy stuff when I consume things or get near the pyramid or whatever. So you may want to try the black salt. It's $3.99 for 100 grams, I think, and $5.99 for however much fit. Anyway, science, religion, and government. So, for those that were here earlier, I was speaking of the Orion Wars or the Oxygen Wars. So, what we're dealing with now is one pervasive, I'll call it enemy, but it's actually a tool of a group. And the tool of the Dracos, and not all Dracos are bad, there's friendly multi-species out there.
Sorry, can you clarify what a Draco even is?
Oh, sorry. A Draco is a lizard person, meaning that they come from the star system Draco, and there's other systems out there, and their physical features are that of a reptile. So when you look at the hieroglyphs in Egypt with the bird heads, the dog heads, all these are from other areas in our galactic system. And we all come from one of these areas. And Orion is one of these areas. And there's many wars that took place by the Dracos, who have for the most part, they do not have emotion, because they have time traveled numerous times and have lost aspects of their soul, their genetic togetherness. Double check all this stuff. I'm just kind of reiterating what I know through multiple sources. And it is a matriarchal system. So that means that it's the females that were in charge. And I think John Carter Goes to Mars, the women tribe were hatching out the eggs, and they get a male egg and they throw them out in the trebuchet out into the desert to die. This is part of where the war between men and women has come from, is from this masculine-feminine separation of ages ago. And this is often why we have the deserts, not only due to nuclear war, but the erosion of the magnetic lines between villages or even people, where we're separated. So if you separate the essence of all life, which is hydrogen and oxygen, the oxygen being male and the hydrogen being female, when you separate those, you do not have rain, you do not have life, you have desert. So when they tried to when the male and female shamans had to have separate languages because they could not communicate, this was the beginning of the first desert. Those magnetic lines that run between towns, if those are disrupted through construction or warfare or a variety of other things, that will create deserts or war or disconnections between people. So when we've had the these wars in a very far away place coming to us and wanting to eradicate the life on all these different planets. There is a tool that is utilized by the Draco, which I believe was created by someone else, but they made a contract with this artificial intelligence, which is the beast, which is represented in the graphene oxide, which is the black goo. This is the thing that is the programming agent that is in the medical stuff that they've been wanting society to ingest or be injected or stabbed with. And it is that black goo that acts as an antenna within the body, and it becomes self-replicating after a while. And that has taken over the original cults that go back to Sumeria, ancient Egypt, that came out of Atlantis, which was a place for the refugees of these oxygen wars, because this black goo despises, cannot tolerate anything of oxygen or chlorophyll, and wants to neutralize it because the environment for the Dracos, my understanding, is high nitrogen dry, so it's like very acidic and dry as opposed to wet and warm. So there's a lack of oxygen and there's no connection because there's no empathy, no compassion, separate emotionally. So when you see the movie They Live, if anybody's seen it, and if you haven't, I would recommend it. That is what we're dealing with here, is that many of the people that are in corporations, in the churches, these corporations, and some, many of them I've met, and I've actually done a thing with a priest where he came to me and asked for assistance in getting rid of some of the things that were on him. So none of us are immune from what's out there. And when we are taken over by some of these things, it takes a lot to overcome that. And first of all, it is the awareness that we have these things through the air, through the water, through these medical stabbings, all the different things that go on, they're in us. And as we are at that point where we are these batteries through these self-replicating product or additional stabbings, we then become the puppets for the leaders of these original cults, going back to Babylon, Sumeria, Egypt, that came out of Atlantis, the cult of the moon, the cult of the mushroom, the cult of the sun, like all these different cults all have a basis in what we are dealing with today. Mark Pastor is a wonderful person to go into to hear what he has to say about many of these civilizations and why we are at where we're at.
What's that name? Mark?
Mark Passio, P-A-S-S-I-O. He also has a wonderful presentation on natural law as well, which really gets into some of the grammar, the quantum grammar, the PARSA syntax as well, if you extend that. But it's basically canon law or God's law. So he's an excellent resource for that kind of thing. So all these different people that are in religion, science, and government all are part of an agenda for eugenics of humanity. And they're all in service to these higher masters, where they say it's like the 1%, it's more like the 0.1%. Because there are the queens. My understanding is that all of those heads have been removed. And we're just dealing with the breathing body of the corpse right now as it's lashing about and doing its thing. But the light, the people of 51% service to others have overcome that threshold, and we're now looking at collapsing governments and collapsing monetary systems and looking at the end of the Catholic Church. Many of these different things that we're seeing and have been coming over decades that are collapsing, not as quickly as I would like, or many other people were saying, hang Trudeau, or do this to who and who, or whatever. It's like, that doesn't help, because then we're perpetuating that same thing. Whereas we fill our hearts with love, and then fry his ass with love, then it's a different story. Well, we need to love him with compassion and empathy. Sometimes for me it's challenging, because sometimes I just want to slap somebody. But that's, again, me having to recognize my addiction to not feeling in power, or whatever it might be. Why am I resorting in a place of anger, fear? Where's my love? Where's my compassion? What is reflecting to me outside of myself in the mirror verse? What is it reflecting to me that I need to work on? Where's my place within myself that I'm no longer aware that I am completely divine? Where have I forgotten that? And as I remember who I am by going in and looking at what's under the glass floor or the glass ceiling, then I can go in and really say, okay, that happened, that was evil. You're not evil because you participated in that, you were a victim. You are not the purpose of their sickness, or whatever it is, and just coming to that place and having forgiveness for whatever it was that transpired in that place. I tried killing my grandfather twice at the age of 3. Tried setting him on fire and tried dropping a shovel on from the second story. I, to this day, have now been able to look at that and see him for someone who went through such horrors in his family, in his upbringing, being in the Second World War and the First War, and what he was involved in. And his brothers were the bodyguards to Winston Churchill. So some of the things that my family members saw were not the average stuff. And I've heard some of these things, and I've seen the effects of some of these things on my family members. And so in that place, I'm being able to come to that place that even though I'm not of their blood, I am of their emotional imprint. And as I'm bringing these events into a place of gratitude that they've happened, that because I can go into those dark corners and find what it is that's there, I can bring light to that darkness. That is me doing my shadow work. Even though I may be crawling on my belly, I'm going to get to that corner, I'm going to light it up, because I want freedom. I don't want to be reacting to something that someone says or does. That's my responsibility. I need to be whole and centered in myself. If what they say triggers me, that's my issue. I glean what I need for the best that I can in a place of compassion and witness for myself, and hopefully then be an example for others to do the same in a place of being an advocate of peace. Because when I go and kick ass, it's not pretty. Sometimes when I go and bring peace, it's not pretty, because people see the truth. And the number of posters that have been taken down in this town since I've been putting them up, it's phenomenal. How many people will put another poster over top of mine? They do not want to see me doing this. And it's like, why is there a fear there? Or what is their dislike of my personality, or whatever it is that's going on for them? But in certain places, it happens every time I put up a poster for one of my events or whatever it is. It's phenomenal how that happens. And I would, at one point in time, have pity for those individuals, because I know the karmic repercussions that come from that. Because I'm also known as a catalyst, and that's part of why people don't like me to a certain degree. But when I see that happen, there is a fear in them that I want to embrace them. What is this fear or this unease that I bring forward, either in my stature, my voice, or whatever it is I'm going to present? How are you a reflection of me where I'm not at peace with myself, with what I'm knowing and feeling? How can I be more of me to assist that and not go outside of myself and try and rescue that state of mind, because that's disempowering and enabling. And that doesn't me no good, it does them no good either. So being able to come here, share what I have known, gleaned over the years, and bring that to whoever's here, this is my greatest gift for myself. And that's what I see in the birthday, is to be able to give of myself to you. And each day I'm born differently, because my awareness are different. I cannot step into that same river because it has changed and is different. The name may be the same, the location may be the same, but that which has gone by, it will never come by again. I can only step into that river once. So each day, each moment, each breath, each vibration is an opportunity for me to have gratitude, forgiveness, humility, whatever it is that I am in resistance to, that is not serving the greater good or the greater whole, is part of my mission here, from my perspective. And that is my hope, wish, and I'm not going to say desire, because desire is like castrating the stallion. So my ambition is for everyone to claim what is theirs. What is our authentic state of being? What is that angelic light within each and every one of us? Because I can see that when I look into people's eyes, the windows to the soul. I see everyone's full potential, even myself. It scares the shit out of me. It's like that whole idea of having compassion for myself and knowing that I'm worthy of love and being loved, like the whole gamut of it, is somewhat terrifying for me because I've never known it. But every day becomes greater and greater, where I meet the monkey man. Oh, here, have a monkey tree. Oh, okay. Or the three-legged dog, or whatever it might be. All these different scenarios that happen every single day are showing me that I'm in alignment. I do a lot of numerology, and seeing the license plate 7735s all the time. I'm getting double numbers, or 1111, or something. And that's how the universe is speaking to me. For some people it might be a bird, or bringing a feather. Like I said, I've been known by the name feather in many different medicine circles by people that have never met me or do not know who I am, but they know me as feather from spirit. And this has happened with some other names in other places. So we all know one another. And as we bring ourselves more into that collapsed state of being, we are not being influenced by any of these past cults that rule through fear, control, through division. That's a whole other thing. That LGBTQ something 56 divisions of people. There's one light. And every time we make it into the red, yellow, orange, green, blue, purple, black, brown, pink, unicorn, fart, sparkle, whatever it is, it's division and separation from that one. Every single time it's like masculine, feminine, white, black, jab, not jab, whatever it is, however we can divide the family, because that's the key, is a divided family. When we can bring ourselves back in, not necessarily with our blood family, but our family, then we are able to then kick some serious ass with Nerf boots. I gotta watch out. Because if we don't, if we have this awareness and we take advantage of that power, or that awareness or our abilities of our inborn skills, and we are duping or maligning or whatever, what comes back on us is sevenfold. And you will get your ass kicked. So of integrity, humility, ingratitude is the only way to go. And sometimes we step outside of that, you get a little slap here or there, or a little nudge, a little pat in the back, whatever it is. But we are our own self-regulating systems, people, and this is where all this comes in, is how do we come together within ourselves, how do we come together as a family, how do we come together as a community, and as humanity. How do we each play that part and bring that 100 Monkeys theory to fruition? What are we gonna do? Some of us might be sparkling clean toilet, another person's gonna be brain surgery, another person's planting carrots, whatever it is, whatever your passion is, whatever your heart leads you to. Living that passion is not work. It is creation of love. And it may be a clean toilet, or it may be a loaf of bread, or whatever it is. But we're each being brought to that place, to be that musical instrument, to sing that divine song that we are within our genes. Because with this collapse, with these vortexing energies, sound, smell, sight, all of this is through the collapsing of this caduceus coil, this torus ring. Because with each vibrational frequency of those dodecahedrons collapsing on themselves, as they're collapsing in perfect symmetry, there is a light band that is created. And it's the red, yellow, green, blue. And it's continually spinning like this. And this is how we get all our senses, all the information for our senses is through the collapsing of our environment on a molecular level, and also what's going on within our receptor organs. So whether it be touch or taste or hearing or whatever it is, the more that we're in alignment with those collapsing forces, the more all those senses are able to come forward. One of the other ways of being able to enhance this, as well as visualizing the infinity symbol in each one of your chakra centers, is to be able to, so if I'm starting at center and what's that? Let's do this. So no, that's going to be different. So walking and being able to look at one person or one thing at the whole time as you're walking in this infinity cycle. If you have any children or anything like that that have ADHD or dyslexic and different things like this, as you're walking in this infinity symbol, your brain is having to work left, right, and if you're going along and you're doing a crossover, as I'm going over and doing the crossover, I can do the same leg, and then if I can cross over and do this as I'm walking into that other place, then you're actually making your brain and everything work to a greater degree. And then if you can bring it back into that place so that you're going from ambidextrous to the other thing, then you're able to bring all of those different aspects of the positive, negative parts of your brain, realigning the left and right corpus callosum, or through the corpus callosum. Then you're going to be able to do more ambidextrous things, like using two-handed chopsticks. I haven't done it with two hands at the same time, but practicing left and right helps. Writing your name with both hands. The more that you can do ambidextrous things gets this brain working. Brings us into our own self-awareness, into our full authentic state of being. And then we don't need government, religion, or science, because it's all within us. Everything that we need to know is already within us. I can ask you any question about anything, and if you answer your first heartfelt no, it will always be correct. And you can ask those questions in a yes/no manner. You You can do that across the board with kinesthetic muscle testing because you're tapping into the morphogenic field, or that whole Akashic record energy of the all-knowing. So there's many different things that we can do to use as personal tools, whether it's the blossoming of the red rose in the center of your mind, and being able to smell that. Having, like, as I was doing that infinity walk, when I don't know the name, but if you're holding up information cards or a symbol, you could, like, you could have a word and a definition. And as I'm going around and I'm watching that symbol with my focus, my ability to learn is enhanced. There's other learning systems that were developed in Russia, where being able to face north, sitting in a 45-degree angle, and listening to the high-pitched frequencies of Baroque music, Chopin, Mozart, all these guys. Those will change your brain functioning. I went to a monastery where Dr. Tomaszewski did the work with Down syndrome patients. Their physical state of being changed, their mental capabilities were enhanced, their body odors were reduced. That research was then later taken by Don Campbell, who created the Mozart effect for babies. And you can then have these high-pitched frequencies playing for you while you're sleeping or throughout the day, and they will create these peaks in the brain. I was talking about the 40 hertz, like the Tibetan's rainbow. When we're going into that theta to gamma range, it will peak the brain to go to that frequency where we're able to have these cognitive awarenesses of interdimensional or subconscious thoughts. So I'm able to get to those places either above or below the glass ceiling floor. So with these kinds of awarenesses, we don't have to depend on anybody. We don't have to have authority in our lives. We've done the studies where the children have these natural born abilities up until about the age of 5, which is when school starts, which is where authority comes in. And as we are continually having to give ourselves to authority, we become those good cattle. And we lose our awareness of how to make decisions for ourselves. I'm known for being naive. It's like, how do I discern, is this person trustworthy or not? Where is my self-worth? Where did I give up my sense of self because somebody else told me that this wasn't right or not, and I've completely lost all myself? No more government, no more religion, no more science, because everything is within us and we know what's right, and collectively we are bringing that together. How's that? Okay. Another one? Anybody? Yep, sure. Do people want to have a little stand and go get some water or have to go? Okay, we're here. I know my verbal diarrhea kind of goes on too. I guess that's why we're here. You're coming? I'm John. Brooke? Nice to meet you, Brooke. So these are some of the things.
Good to see you, John.
Thank you. These are some of the things I've been making. Yeah, I made a lot of this stuff beforehand, and I've been selling a lot of it lately. Just because I've been bringing it out more. I used to have it at the farmers markets, but I think I want to be adding some of the like coils like this, into these, there's all kinds of coils. And with some of the organized other coils. Yep. And what I'm gonna be doing is taking 50% concrete and 50% wood ash, or we can get basalt, and then mixing that half and half, and then making these sheets, because they've got a really high pitch, like on this pyramid, it's a 73% degree, whereas the keys is a 52. So there's a different energy that's created with these higher pitches. So having these concrete antennas that will assist in the growth in the gardens and a variety of different things. So.
Hey, I have some squashes, if you need squashes.
Oh wow!
You need a squash?
Probably.
Birthday squash for you, or 2 or 3.
Right on.
Or if you can't eat that many squash, maybe you can eat a squash.
I'm off the grid right now, but yeah, we'll certainly open it up for people.
Next.
Now, I was going to mention, if anybody's interested in health books, these are 2 really good books as far as what to do, how to do it, and things like that. This one actually won the Health Book Award in 2007 internationally. I got to do a little thing on the back here. Nothing compares to conscious health. Has opened the door to wellness as no other source has been able to do. John Roberts Health Coach.
Hey, you got him back.
Yeah. So, but again here, like some of the water pictures and the differences. Oh, one of my cards. And just the difference in the water. And this is right outside of Salmon Arm in Celeste, where he was. And just there's so many different.
Yeah, I've seen that book, that's been around now.
Flying critters.
It's well marked, it's very well marked. That's
Yeah.
quick reference points there on color code.
Well, that's the thing. And I've seen it in so many people's homes. It's like, okay, that's a good one. Like when I can see that often.
Safety orange, what does that signify, safety orange?
This is just the one that I had at hand.
Isn't it?
This is laid on the floor, but it's a nice color.
Yeah, it's like,
It
it's
is
like
like
the
blue, yeah, I didn't
John
notice that.
drinks out of cobalt.
Oh, yeah.
You've upped your copper game, I see.
Yeah, well, the amount of copper that I have right now is probably into the mile, or past the mile. And like I was saying to Jeremy, I want to be doing some more of these coils. And even just simple things like this for people. These are known as the Galactic coils, which are a full circle that are then open to a 19.5 degree angle from center. And then these are then faced in alignment with the north. And they create an energetic field around the plant to enhance productivity of fruit or whatever it is. And then if you make these out of red or blue colored wire wrapped together, you'll get more flower and more vegetation.
What's the concrete stuff? Is that your take? You're making that stuff?
The concrete, because it holds the line, and I'm going to be adding a basalt or wood ash to that, it creates an electromagnetic piezoelectric effect through compression. So it actually activates the crystalline structure inside, which then amplifies the ground that it's sitting on. And with some of these coils that I'm going to have, it's literally going to be like a tail to stick into the ground, and then there'll be like a little rod or piece of wire sticking off the top or something. There's a variety of different styles to do. But to basically to help the earth, to help settle the earth in, because of all the electricity and people digging with steel shovels and whatever it is, everything gets disturbed. So whatever I can do, like those things, those all hold different energies. This one, if you have it on one end, you can feel it, it'll start swinging. One will create energy, like draw energy out, and then if you take it down the other side, it'll start making the energy to go in.
Okay.
And then different sizes of these infinity symbols on them. Things.
Right.
So,
When we were kids, they'd hold the needle from the string and tell you what you were gonna have when you were
yeah, or the wedding ring over the belly of the pregnant lady.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Is that all EMF stuff?
Some of this, yes. I mean, these rings back here, these ones in particular, I put these over the smart meters. One lady I'm working with, they just moved to this house and her anxiety has gotten a lot more intense since they moved there, and her bed's right next to the smart meter. So I gave them one of these to use because that's where the daycare is going to be, so I want to be with the children. And I checked back yesterday, she wasn't there, but I'm going to check with her again and see if she's felt any difference. Because anyone that has used these has been able to feel a difference, whether they can sleep better or the one lady was talking about broken arthritis or pains from broken bones. One lady who has mitochondrial degeneration has outlived all the other patients. She's 14 years in, people died between 2 and 5 years. Severe trauma in childhood and loss of water. That just shuts down all the cells and just basically the whole body dies. It's highly uncommon, and particularly to be able to live that long. It's just bizarre. These are 2 books that I recommend to people that are going to do health challenges. This one by Penny Kelly in the U.S. The author was living in Vernon at the time. And this is where I was working with him, and some of the water systems that were described in all. That's when I was representing one of these water companies, and I was working with another one that was out of Austria, but I started working with these people, and since then, there's another water system I've looked at through Dan Winter, and it's called the Imploder, and it creates the best restructured water that I've been able to find, and it basically is lasts forever, is not made from metal, it is biodegradable plastic, lifetime guarantees. There's a variety of things that are out there that have come a long way since I got into this part of 3 decades ago. Yeah, they are. So all the, actually these 2, to get into the human records, which in the last 4 days has been off the charts. So which that means the earth is tuning herself to higher frequency. And what's happening is we're responding to those changes in frequency from these solar flares. And the sound of the earth is human frequency, which goes from 21 hertz up to, I think, 72 hertz. The new average resonance of the earth will no longer be at 7.3, it will be at 13.6 hertz frequency, which is a combination of these 2 tuning forks. So being able to take these
60 times or whatever it is.
and put these on different parts of the body, bone or different things like that. This will help bring those places into the resonance of these forks. Or specific heart issues, different emotional things. Play the 528, which resonates with the heart. But there may be, because there's reflective injuries and things like that, there may be a heart injury or trauma, but it might be like a lower back pain or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll just run these across the body or go to a specific point, often fixing on a bone, and then being able to whatever it is, with whatever frequency. And the same goes with the rattles and the drum, doing the different tones in the drum. This is really wet now. The earth is very tight, so as I would be going here, and that resonance comes through the skin, and different sounds. I used to do workshops with drums, rattles, and flutes. So different sounds will have a different effect on different chords. So if you look up on the internet, seven sounds is gone, you'll get that.
They kept it cheaper than that.
That's what that's all about.
So, yeah, many of these sounds are for the different organs and to help purge that energy or to enhance that. So, all these different, this one is, as I'm finding some of the people that have, had some traditional medical supplements. Because this has a certain frequency like rain, which is water, and it is programmed to kill and destroy anything that is of chlorophyll or moisture. Because those create oxygen, and the hydrogen and oxygen of the water is counter to the well-being of the body. Hey? Well, this is because it gets rid of the black vapor. Because it's self-replicating, but with the rain, it really washes it away and distorts that bond.
Do a lot of rebuilding.
And what it's trying to do is create a third strand of the DNA. So we're already awakening the third strand of our DNA naturally. The ways this nanoparticulate that's come in is wanting to replicate be our third strand, so that it can then control us and we'll then have access to our soul and what it is. Through the water, through the jet. Oh, this is what their official intelligent weapon was that they created.
No, it's actually.
And they send that ahead into the planetary system that they're gonna take over, because it goes in and does the major work, and then the Dracos come in and do the cleanup. And basically take over whatever they want, take all the resources, and then move on to the next planet. And we're the last system, and who we are genetically, we are the antivirus to the Orion Wars.
No, I'm not feeling.
Because our genetics is made up of all the races that were involved in those original wars. And all the rest of that DNA is who we are.
If they let me.
And so we are the answers to that war. So as we lighten up, we're the antivirus and neutralizing the beast. I don't know, but I think we're all here, so we can get back.
No, one else.
Oh, okay. Okay, yep, yeah, that's true.
Right away, man.
So is there enough clarity of, or am I skipping over places too much, or you're able to follow along?
You say allowing is suffering.
Suffering is the allowing of. So we can make the choice to recognize that there's a pain and go in and work with that, with that experience. And the sooner we go in, we're actually putting compression on. So like when you have a wound, you put compression on it, that reduces the blood, which is the expansion, and you're bringing everything back together again. You're compressing it so the pain is being reduced. So oftentimes you'll have a pain in the body and you'll press on it, a sore tooth or something, put your tongue to it, or a sore thumb, and it's like that. So as you put that pressure to it, you're recompressing that thing that has exploded, has come out of its original form. So as we are allowing the suffering, we're allowing ourselves to learn the lesson of whatever it was that came along. And the more that we kind of let it go on and on and on, is showing that we are not able or willing to go into that trauma. And when we have the awareness, we can go and say, oh, I stubbed my toe. What's that about? Oh, it's on the left foot, so that's my feminine side. It's on the bottom here, so that has to do with me, because the knee is the mother, father, immediate, and then the hips are representative of the ancestors. So I'm able to say, okay, this is my left foot, this is what I'm stepping forward into. The toe, being like the thumb, is the digit of love. So the green thumb for plants, this is the heart chakra of the thumb. So as we're able to go in and go, oh, this is maybe I hit it here, and this is the pituitary gland. If you're doing the reflexology on the head, this is the point that I hit. So there's something going on with my head, whether it be a thinking thought or a something, whatever injury it is that came in the physical, it has manifested in the spiritual first and has downloaded into the physical, so I'll take care of it. Once I address that, the pain will go away, and then I will not have to go through that experience again because I've learned it. And then on to the next one. But if I haven't taken action to address that trauma and still react to it and don't respond in a balanced, harmonious way with compassion and empathy, then it will persist, and that's the allowing of it because we're not addressing our distraction.
I see it a different way, but,
And that's fine.
I think the outcome is exactly the same.
Okay.
Cause I see not allowing, so, sort of rejecting as the suffering.
So, in those two words, the re and reject, so that it's in the quantum grammar, the prefix and the suffix will mean the exact opposite of what it is, because everything that's in this world is reverse and inverse to 180 degrees of what the true form is. So, when we're able to go back to that place, and when you said not allowing, the universe does not recognize no or not because everything is. So as soon as you say, I do not want this, what you're actually saying to the universe is, I want more of whatever, because it's a null, neutral thing. It's like you're not saying anything because a no is something. So having that no whatever, you're actually creating that whatever, because you said the no.
Right.
So using different words and saying no consent, consent withdrawn, or whatever that might be, utilizing those words, letting go as opposed to releasing. All these choices, because like Black's Law, the English language is meant to entrap the cattle. It's less work for the caretakers to manage the herds when they do it themselves through self-imposed greed and resentments and whatever it is. And the language, which is the spelling magic spell. So is it K-N-O-W or N-O? No. There's so many things, even in the poster where it said, add a query or two to the bowl. Those three words together in alliteration just played havoc with that system that's in the brain. And I wrote those things specifically and not necessarily dramatically correct, but having the intent of thank you ahead of time for this contribution now. Setting up that energy pathway for things to happen with gratitude in a now state. All these different things I'm working in the brain, whereas most times it's instant gratification or whatever it is. But in that, I'm wanting to stimulate. It's like McDonald's with their sign, the yellow and the red, and their sloping seats and the color of this and that, and packaging on Pillsbury Doughboy cookies or whatever it is. Everything is targeted at the individual to buy, and to, well, not so much buy, but to give your energy in the form of lust, greed, gluttony, more money, bigger bank account, fancy car, whatever it is. So all this stuff is when we're able to speak from our heart, we're not having to use those specific words.
Right.
So when I speak with the animals, or the trees, or whatever it is, speaking from the heart to their heart allows for that clarity and communication. And I'm challenged with that because I often get triggered and it's like, oh, you stupid little, and then I'm out of place, and it's like ground center. This is where I need to be. And this is my training. And even though I may stub my toe, it's like, oh, thank you, thank you. Because it takes a while for me to get it. I'm dense. I self-admitted over and over again. It's like I'm banging my head and it's like, oh, the door's right here. I just have to step over that way a little bit. So So this is where I'm looking at for some of these words and what we've been put into, and it gets to be annoying, because I can be really finicky or picky about
You are.
little wee things, yet it can make a huge, huge difference.
It does, I agree.
I had a conversation with a fellow the other day, he said, oh yeah, I want to be pulling energy from this person to let them show up right there. And it's like, you're pulling energy from them, you fucking vampire. As opposed to, I am encouraging them to be their authentic self. Whatever that may be, it makes a huge difference. Particularly when you start going into law and government and some of these contracts, and if you don't know that the first two sentences completely neutralizes every mortgage contract that's out there, and because it's created without your witnessing, by you signing it, it is null and void, because you were not witness to that creation of that thing. And the fact that you're signing something in a uppercase, lowercase, when it's addressed to the full uppercase person, and not you, the people, because a people is an individual and a group, it's null and void. But we take it as a presumed assumption that we know these things. So when we start responding to the all capital stuff, we're taking on the assumption that that is who we are, and it's not. That is the straw man identity, the walking dead. And it's like, no responsibility, because that is not who I am. You're trying to impersonate me, which is a crime, which makes that invalid as well. And you are liable for those things, whatever it is. We're gonna go to the, well, we got like 10 minutes. We'll make it quick. Anybody? Anybody?
You talked about, sorry, I was
Yep.
gonna say, if we only have 10 minutes, you talked about doing the group healing.
Oh, yes, good, thanks. Okay. So, in speaking of the roads, I was asking if I need anything from there, and nobody spoke up. So what I'm gonna suggest, if you want to, is take